I remember how that night lay awake in the wagon lit in a tender, delicious ecstasy of excitement, my burning cheek pressed against the impeccable linen of the pillow, and the pounding of my heart mimicking that of the great pistons ceaselessly thrusting the train that bore me through the night, away from Paris, away from girlhood, away from the white and close quietude of my mother's apartment, into the unguessable country of marriage. And I remember, I tenderly imagined how, at this very moment, my mother would be moving slowly about the narrow bedroom I had left behind forever, folding up and putting away all my little relics, the tumbled garments I would not need anymore, the scores for which there had been no room in my trunks, the concert programs I'd abandoned. She would linger over this torn ribbon and that faded photograph with all the half joyous, half sorrowful emotions of a woman on her daughter's wedding day. And in the midst of my bridal triumph, I felt a pang of loss as if, when he put the gold band on my finger, I had in some way ceased to be her child in becoming his wife.
Are you sure? Are you sure you love him?
I want to marry him.
Okay then.
He loved to surprise me in my abstract solitude at the piano. He would tell them not to announce him, then soundlessly open the door and slowly creep up behind me with his bouquet of hot house flowers.
Here, my love.
He was older than I. He was much older than I. And sometimes that face, in stillness when he listened to me playing, seemed to me like a mask, as if his real face, the real face he met me, before even I was born, as though that face lay underneath this mask. Even when he asked me to marry him, and I said,
To marry you would make my dreams come true, girl. You're my best friend, my love, my beautiful dove. Say you'll marry me. Agree to be my bride to be while I'm waiting on one knee.
yes. When I said that I would marry him, not a single muscle in his face stirred, but he let out a long, extinguished sigh. My old nurse, who still lived with my mother and me, squinted at the ring and said,
Opals are bad luck.
but this opal had been his own mother's ring, and his grandmother, and her mother before that, given to an ancestor by Catherine de Medici. Every girl that came to the castle wore it, time out of hand.
And did he give this to his wife and have it back from them?
I don't want to remember how he'd loved other women before me, but the knowledge often teased me by the threadbare of self-confidence of the small hours.
Indeed, was he still not in mourning for his last wife?
And even my mother had been reluctant to see her girl whisked off by a man so recently bereaved, a Romanian countess, a lady of high fashion, dead just 3 short months before I met him, a boating accident in his home in Brittany. They never found her body. I should sleep now, but I couldn't. Into marriage, into exile. I sensed it. I knew it, that henceforth I would always be lonely. This ring the bloody bandage of rubies, the wardrobe of clothes from Poret and Worth, his scent of Russian leather, all had conspired to seduce me.
Soon, my love. Welcome, oh my bride.
Good afternoon, my lord and lady.
Hello? Yes.
Who was it?
The agent from New York had called with such urgent business. I must leave as soon as the tide was low and probably come back after 6 weeks. But before I will leave, I have something for you to carry on during my business trip. For every lock in the house, these keys of all kind are for the safes and boxes. And during my absence, you must take care of them all. Here is the key to the china cabinet, the key to the locked barred room. Here's the key to my office, to the kitchen, library, and for the basement.
One single key remained unaccounted. For a moment, I thought he was going to unfasten it. What is that key? The key to your heart? Give it to me.
No, not the key to my heart, rather, the key to my Yenfer. Every man must have one secret, even if only one to his wife. Promise me, you use all the keys on the ring except that last little one I showed you. All is yours, everywhere is open to you, except the lock that this single key fits. But you must promise me that if you love me, to leave it well alone. It is only a private study, a hideaway, a den. There I can go, you understand, to savor the rare pleasure of imagining myself wifeless.
I lay in bed alone, and I longed for him, and he disgusted me. Were there jewels enough in all his safes to recompense me from this predicament? Did all that castle hold enough riches to recompense me from the company of the libertine with whom I must share it? And what, precisely, was the nature of my desirous dread for this mysterious being who, to show his mastery over me, had abandoned me on my wedding night? After breakfast, I practiced the piano for 3 hours before calling the piano tuner to thank him. He was blind, of course, but young, with a gentle mouth and gray eyes that fixed upon me although they could not see me. Then I remembered the keys to the interior doors of this lovely prison of which I was both the inmate and the mistress that had been seen. I felt the exhilaration of the explorer.
Lights! I need more lights!
When everything was lit as brightly, I was determined, now, to search through them all for evidence of my husband's true nature. His office first, evidently. A joke in the worst possible taste, for he had not been married to an Armenian countess. And then I remember her pretty, witty face and her name, Carmilla. My most recent predecessor in this castle had been, it would seem, the most sophisticated. I made my decision to explore the forbidden room. Perhaps, I have imagined, then I might find his real self in his den. I could not take refuge in my bedroom, for that retained the memory of his presence, trapped in the fathomless silvering of his mirrors. I told myself, if I played this without a single mistake, then the morning would be fine.
Forgive me. I know I should not crouch outside your door at this time, but as I noticed that you were walking about up and down, my intuition told me that you could not sleep and might pass the insomniac hour at your piano, and I could not resist that. Besides, I stumble upon these.
It's perfect. The piano is perfectly tuned.
When I heard you play this afternoon, I thought I'd never heard such a technique. So I crept up in this room until my stick fell to the floor and I was discovered.
When I recovered my consciousness, I found I was lying in the piano tuner's arm. My husband is indeed returned.
The key, it must go back on the ring with the others, as though nothing has happened.
Dearest, the Silva of Rio outwitted me. Thankfully, my agent from New York had saved me a wasted journey, so we may resume our interrupted pleasures, my love.
I did not believe one word of it. I knew I had behaved exactly according to his desires. Had he not bought me so that I should do so? Now that I had met the shadow reality of his that came to light, only in the presence of his own atrocities. I must pay the price of my new knowledge. I had lost as the victim loses to the executioner.
But of course, I gave the keys to you.
Your keys? Why, of course. They're here under the pillow. Wait a moment. Where could I have left them? I was whiling away that evening without you at the piano. Of course, the music room.
Go and get them.
Now, at this moment? Can it wait until morning, my darling?
No, it won't wait. Now.
The monocle had fallen from his face. His curling mane was disordered, as if he had run his hands through it in his distraction.
It is the key that leads to the kingdom of unimaginable. Oh, my little love who brought me a white gift of music. My little love, you'll never know how much I hate daylight. Kneel! My virgin of the Arpeggio, prepare yourself for the martyrdom.
What form shall it take?
Decapitation. Go and bath yourself. Put on the dress that suits you the best, and I shall sharpen my great grandfather's ceremonial sword.
The servants.
We shall have absolute privacy for our last rites. I have already dismissed them. I have given them all a day's holiday to celebrate our wedding. Go now, bath yourself, suit yourself, and wait in the music room until I telephone you.
You do not deserve this.
Who can say what I deserve or not? I've done nothing.
You disobeyed him. That is sufficient reason for him to punish you.
Let the blind lead the blind, eh? But does even a youth as besotted as you are think she was truly blind by her own desire when she took my ring? Give it back, whore. It will serve me for a dozen more fiancés. To the block, woman. No, leave the boy. Don't loiter, girl. You think I shall lose appetite for the meal if you are so long about serving it? No, I shall grow hungrier, more ravenous with each moment, more cruel. I have a place prepared for exquisite corpse in my display of flesh. Such a pretty neck. A neck like the stem of a young plant.
One thing only made me glad, that my lover would not see me die. We lead a quiet life, the three of us. I inherited, of course, enormous wealth, but we have given most of it away to various charities. The castle is now a school for the blind, though I pray that the children who live there are not haunted by any sad ghost, looking for the husband who will never return to the bloody chamber, the contents of which are buried or burned, and the doors sealed. I felt I had a right to retain sufficient funds to start a little music school here, on the outskirts of Paris, and we do well enough. Sometimes we can afford to go to the opera. though never to sit in a box, of course.
We know we are the source of many whisperings and much gossip,
But the three of us knows the truth of it, and mere chatter can never harm us. I can only bless what shall I call it? The maternal telepathy that sent my mother running headlong from the telephone to the station after I had called her that night.